Rise in unruly behavior on planes tied to stress of flying. Flying has increasingly become a world of the haves and have-nots, starting with purchasing a ticket and continuing as passengers are sorted by status to board. Once on the plane, passengers can see where they fit in the hierarchy, with the seats getting smaller and thinner and legroom tighter with each passing row. Then, now, some researchers are arguing that the stresses of flying and they say income inequality is among them, contribute to an increase in unruly behavior on planes. Add to that mix the fact that there are fewer flight attendants on duty than there once were. Most domestic airlines fully comply with all federal safety rules and regulations, including those pertaining to crew staffing aboard the aircraft, a spokesman for Airlines for America, the group's trade association said. The International Air Transport Association, an industry trade group with about 290 member airlines, found that there was one disruptive incident for every 1,053 flights in 2017, the last year for which data was available. In 2016, and every incident can affect passenger and flight safety. In some cases, airplanes are the physical embodiment of a status hierarchy, said Keith Payne, a professor of psychology and neuroscience at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and the author of The Broken Ladder: How Inequality Affects the Way We Think, Live, and Die. They are a social crowding, Mr. Payne added, is a risk factor for aggression, and more people in a small space make that more likely to happen. One general option when an interaction starts to escalate, he noted, is to walk away and cool off. But, he said, a study, published in 2016, found that multiple classes on an aircraft increased the likelihood of misbehavior. The study, by the authors found that the presence of a first-class cabin, in addition to an economy-class cabin, was associated with more frequent air rage incidents. And boarding through the Air Transport Association found that disruptive incidents fell into several categories, with ignoring safety regulations, excessive drinking before a flight, and smoking the most common. The association, it's far too easy for unruly events to occur, Mr. Hartveld said. Now, organizations in Britain and the European Union are starting programs to minimize disruptions. No one wants to be. Last July, the Airport Operators Association, the UK Travel Retail the campaign began at 10 airports. 14 now participate, including Heathrow, with airport screens and posters and a leaflet distributed by the police. It also appeared on bars and restaurants eliminated shots and 2 pints from their menus. A pint in Brit. The One Too Many campaign reminds passengers of their responsibilities and the severe consequences of drinking to excess. The campaign is showing decreases in alcohol-related offenders at Glasgow Airport, Manchester Airport, and Birmingham Airport, according to the Operators Association. Beginning in April, the European Union Aviation Safety Agency and the Airline Transport Association started on social media and YouTube. That campaign, the 28 European Union member states and 4 associate states Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland participate voluntarily. A video. The campaign is to remind passengers that each has the responsibility to behave in the correct manner when they fly, a spokesman for the Aviation Safety Agency said. One of the more extreme incidents occurred on a Ryanair flight from Dublin to Malta at the end of April. Fights broke out, the airline crew requested police assistance while in flight, and, when the plane landed, the police removed and detained some of the passengers. We will not tolerate, the police in Malta said. 2 23-year-old male passengers were arraigned before a magistrate. They were accused of, in March, 2 hours into a Hawaiian Airlines flight from Honolulu to Los Angeles, 2 passengers started quarreling in the aisle. Flight attendants, the pilot enforced security procedures and returned to Oahu. When the plane landed, what an airline considers acceptable behavior is outlined in its contract of carriage. This document is, an international effort is underway to adopt broader regulations to handle passenger disruptiveness, called the Currently, a serious offense is tried according to the law of the aircraft's country of registration. The new regulation, the agreement adds provisions to recover costs from unruly passengers, said William V. O'Connor, a partner at the law firm Cooley in San Diego, whose practice includes aviation matters. There are issues of there is no timetable for the international treaty to go into effect. You can't force it yet. Airlines keep crowding people in the same amount of space and keep adding gradations in the space, Mr. Payne of the University of North Carolina said, even as they create social norms about appropriate flight behavior.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.